What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Infinity Sports. If you are listening to the show, we certainly appreciate you streaming or downloading the episode. Obviously, if you want to get more of the show, you want some bonus content, for lack of a better word, please visit YouTube. You can see the videos that we put up there. You can find our logo on the channel, the Infinity Sports logo. Make sure while you're there watching the video, you like the video. That's going to be the thumbs up just underneath the screen. Lets us know that we're doing a good job. Also, subscribe to the channel, because that way, not only are you going to get updates on the videos, but you're going to be able to find the channel easier, because right now it's a little bit difficult to find. If you're watching the live video on Facebook, make sure you hit the share button. You can actually share the stream with your page. You can share it with groups that you're part of. Definitely get some more eyes on the show. Like the show again. Tell us how we're doing. And, of course, comment. You get to be part of the show. No matter what you type in there, we're going to put it up on the screen, and you get to be part of the show. So it's have some fun with that.
Yeah, should be a good time. So how we doing, guys? I'm Sully, here with my boy Wayne G.
I was going to introduce Sully after the video, but hey, this is Sully, and we'll do it again. I'm just going to click the video here, and you guys sit back.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.
Jordan. Oh, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan. Drives one out to deep left field. This one's got a chance to get out of here. Gone! Three-run Jimmy Jack first. Big league home run for Mike Trout.
Pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
And an 81-point game. 55 in the second half. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed the second greatest scoring performance in NBA history.
What's up, everybody? It is Wayne G and Sully. You got the intro at the start.
For the second time.
Second time, yeah. Definitely excited to get the show started here.
We've got a big one today, so it should be definitely a great one. We got a lot going down. We're going to talk some prospects. We're going to do some trivia that I completely forgot about. We are going to run down the championship games. We got a huge day in sports today. Honestly, there's a lot going down. Canelo's fighting tonight. I know we may not get to it, but we got a packed one today, so it's really exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Obviously, if you guys want to check us out, you can find the audio version of the show. You're probably already listening on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, and we already mentioned YouTube. Make sure you give us a likes and subscribes, and on social media, Infinity Sports Podcast on both Facebook and Instagram, and at Sports Infinity 5 on Twitter. Visit the website. I got to get a new graphic for the apparel, but people obviously can get their apparel there. And we have the new images. If you visit the Facebook page, we got, I think, who is it? Patrick Mahomes and LeBron James rocking the Infinity Sports gear.
We just got stars everywhere. At this point, who can't we put, or who won't wear our clothes? You know what I'm saying? It's pretty wild.
Jesse chimes in. Morning, boys. So obviously, thank you for watching, Jesse. We appreciate it.
Hey, morning, Jesse. How you living, dog? I know you guys got that wicked snow up there, man. Both of you. God, I would die.
Yeah, up to my waist. When I went outside 2 days ago, it was up to my waist, and I had to get the snowblower out, and it took me several hours just to make it look like we had a snowstorm. It was just the apocalypse.
I'm out here, and literally this is what I'm walking around outside in today. So, we're sleeveless out here in Florida.
Well, we certainly hate you for it. And obviously, one of the big things we're going to do today, I played the game with Jesse last episode, and that is You Don't Know Your Favorite. We did Major League, and we did Remember the Titans. Today, Sully and I are actually tackling a couple of different movies. We talked about it a little bit ahead of time. I'm going to be doing The Princess Bride. This is the 1987 cult classic. Nobody hates this movie. It is an all-time classic. I know almost the entire movie. Sully went with Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler, another one that I actually know really well. I did not have to look up any of these questions. I knew them all by heart. And the best part is, Sully, I explained this to you off the air, is that every one of these was mentioned in the film. So Jesse had to get me with things like, what was the soda machine brand in the locker room of Major League, which that's the only way you can stump me. I'm not doing that to you. These are all things that were actually said out loud in the movie. So,
word. Can we move this to the end of the segment, though? Would we mind doing that?
No, I don't mind. Do you want a little bit of time? We'll come back.
Yeah, like I said, I failed to prepare for this one. I'm not going to lie. I completely forgot we were doing this, so I need to load up some questions for you real quick. Happy Gilmore, I'm not worried about. I'll crush that. I don't need to rewatch the movie. But I do need to come up with some questions for you.
Okay. Well, let's keep it. Well, I don't know if you're going to have time in this next segment as we skip around. Oh, yeah, maybe. Oh, wait. I skipped ahead.
Yeah.
Sully's prospects.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I mean, we can knock it out after this. I'll be fine. I'll be able to dual knock this shit out.
So Jesse says Wayne was 3 for 5, so I stumped him twice. That is true.
That is true. I watched it back. Congratulations, Jesse.
Yeah, I was very upset about it because I was talking a lot of smack heading into it.
Yeah, he was steamed up. He wasn't happy, Jesse. Congratulations, bro. I'm happy for you, dog.
All right, so Sully's prospects. I mean, we got 5 new ones today. We haven't talked about any of these guys. I guess we're starting off. I don't know how to pronounce 4 out of the 5 names, so I'm going to let you take the lead.
First one on the list is going to be Jason Owe, which, I mean, that's probably the dopest name we've had in a long time. First word, freak of nature. This kid's reportedly going to run a 4.3 at 6'5", 260. I mean, if you watch him play, he legit gets off the ball like he's a wide receiver. He's so fast and explosive and just, I mean, a freak athlete. Obviously, what comes with that is, you know, his lack in the run game is there. I mean, he needs to get stronger in the run game. He just needs to. He needs to develop secondary moves. But, I mean, he's done that this year. He's actually shown that a lot this year. But coming into it, he had, like, really no power, no second move kind of thing. No plan. You know, he'd go into the pass rush and not really have a plan. And meanwhile, you look at guys like Nick Bosa and that's why they excel, you know, because they have a plan for what they're going to do, as well as being a freak of nature. So this kid's developed kind of as a pass rusher this season. And I mean, I've only got him at, I think, what have I got him at 22 or 25 or 27? I don't even know where I'm at right now. And he has a chance to go a lot higher than that.
Now, the note I read on him, and maybe you can explain how this translates to him as a player, is he gives up his chest too early in the run game.
Yeah, so essentially what he's doing is he's coming out and he's standing straight up. And as an offensive lineman, if you can get your hands inside right here, the game, it's over. You've lost as a defensive lineman. And he does that a lot. So, again, if he can get off the ball and burst around a guy, he's obviously going to beat you. But what he can't do is he doesn't use his hands effectively in the run game. He doesn't base well in the run game. He's actually essentially a liability for the most part in that spot. So he really needs to get stronger there. And he has this year. He has improved, but he still needs to improve more, to be honest with you.
I think it's okay to be that third down specialist rusher. Dwight Freeney made a career out of it, except Dwight Freeney also had a whole textbook of moves, including that spin move, which was lethal.
Which is absolutely lethal. And to be fair, I mean, honestly, he projects a lot like Brian Burns for me. Now, Brian Burns was honestly a more developed pass rusher, and we're seeing that this year. I mean, the guy's just absolutely exploded this year, and he's a monster. But I mean, he's essentially the same guy. He's extremely athletic. He's not going to do much for you in the run game, and we've seen Brian Burns be able to develop and things like that. So I mean, if Jason Owe follows the same thing and turns into a dominant pass rusher, he's obviously worth, you know, a top 15 pick at that point.
All right. So from the defensive line to the offensive line.
We've got Elijah Vera Tucker. He's the offensive guard from USC. God, the guy's just smart. He's just a really smart football player. He really doesn't give up a lot of pressures. He's given up 7 pressures in 590 pass blocking snaps. I mean, he's a monster in the pass game. In the run game, he's not so much. His hands are not good. He does not have a good punch. He does not fire off the ball really well. He needs to get stronger there. But honestly, this is a passing league. And I mean, when you protect as well as he does in the passing game, I mean, you're going to get picked really, really, really high. He's a smart guy. He's really not out of position a lot. So, I mean, when you put yourself in a good spot as an offensive lineman, you're going to win a lot of reps.
Now, what I read about him, and this is maybe where he's kind of a rough project, is so he'd started off as a guard at USC, kind of moved to tackle. The note I have here on him is that he's very top-heavy and slow feet for a tackle. He can get beat by speedier edge rushers, but he's very good over above average athleticism for a guard, but if he's not a good run blocker, guards really are the strength of your run blocking game. So it's kind of a weird.
It is. I mean, he's in a tough spot again. He goes to a team like the Chiefs or like the Tampa Bay or something like that, where they utilize the run game in different ways. You don't necessarily have to fire off the ball and like mow guys over like you do in Baltimore, essentially. I think he'll really excel. Truthfully, I do. I mean, I think he has a chance to be an extremely, extremely talented right guard, or left guard. Honestly, I think he suits more to a left guard, but, yeah, I mean, I think he's fantastic.
Yeah. So who we got next?
We have Christian Darrisaw, who, I mean, if you talk about a rise, I mean, this kid wasn't in my top 100 to start the season. And, I mean, you can't deny what he's doing. He's got a 95.6 grade right now at tackle, which is, that's pure dominance. It doesn't matter who you are, what you did before. It's like a Joe Burrow type season, like it really is, just at offensive tackle. It's insane to watch his progression from last year to this year. He's just, he's fucking good, man. I'm sorry for the language. He's got a chance to go ahead of all the tackles I listed ahead of him. Like he really, other than Penei Sewell. Like he's got a real good shot to be a top 10 tackle and the second tackle off the board. I just don't have him there yet because I just got to go deeper into it. Literally he wasn't a player I scouted. Like I watched maybe 4 games. 2 games, if that, of his tape. And then, was kind of like, okay, he's a 3rd round, 4th round guy, I'll move on. Cause at the point tape where I'm watching that, I want to just watch the top 50 guys and try to pick out my top 50 guys. So if I don't see that immediately on tape, I'll move past. This year's tape, it's insane. I mean, it's special tape.
Well, that's what I was going to say is I'm curious if you have a chance to look at last year's tape versus this year's tape, what is it he's doing different?
Mirroring guys, his footwork is just, it's light years ahead of what it was last year. He's not in a bad position a lot. And when you're an offensive lineman and you're putting yourself in a position to win the rep, a lot of times you're gonna. You're stopping forward momentum, which is already hard enough. So if you get yourself in a good base and you have good hands and things like that, plus he's stupid athletic. It's kind of just like he's harnessed like all of that, and he brought his like mind, like you see it when a guy's like head game becomes in sync with his athletic game. It's just he turns a corner, and it looks like that's what's happening right here.
Well, and to what you were saying too, like being maybe the second guy off the board behind Penei Sewell at the tackle position, we saw last season after the combine, Mekhi Becton, who was just a freak athlete at the combine. Not the most polished pass rusher in college, but he goes really high because of how athletic he was. So, again, this guy could go to the combine, test really athletic, and he has great tape on him on how he pass protects. So he could be like that top 10 pick, right?
He really could. And this one, he pass protects, exponentially better than Mekhi Becton. Now, he's not the freak athlete. Mekhi Becton was, 6'7", 370. He was a fucking monster. He's literally a house on feet. But he does have the potential to go very, very, very high.
All right. Who do we have after that?
I believe we're at Trevor Mooring, who my first safety on the board. I could be wrong. I'd have to go back and check the whole full big board here. Let me give it a little check. Yeah, it's my first safety on the board, which very well he should be. I know Javon Holland's going to be a lot of people's first safety, but Trevor Mooring is just a freak of nature right now. He's just, it's fun to watch a guy this big, this athletic, be this fluid in coverage. At 6'2", 210, he's a legit roamer center fielder who's got size and speed and explosiveness. He can tackle. His coverage ability is insane. I'm 90% sure he's led the NCAA in pass breakups for safeties both years now, last year and this year. And PBUs, and that's an incredible stat to have as like a safety. I love his game. I think he's the perfect do-it-all safety that you're looking for in this league.
So now when I was looking up, again, I always try to find like the knocks on the guy, and looking up the knocks on him, they said that as a one deep safety, he's phenomenal. He reads the field well. He's just the best center fielder out there. Like kind of everything he can do is just flawless. But in man coverage, he gets fooled a lot in double moves, and he's very aggressive. So he tries to jump things.
He is aggressive, but I mean, to be fair, again, you're not putting your safeties in a lot of man-to-man coverage spots anyway. And I mean, truth be told, it wasn't what they ran at TCU. I mean, over 70% of his snaps, he was, a deep safety. He's an Earl Thomas essentially. And I mean, he plays it to a T. Now, I mean, do I want him isolated and man on man? Probably not. I mean, you don't really want many safeties doing that. But again, what he does I would feel completely comfortable playing him inside the box as well. Now, he wouldn't be Jamal Adams, but I wouldn't mind putting him in the box and playing zone on a slot guy or covering a running back out of there. I think he's fantastic.
Okay. And I think that just leaves Carlos Basham, right?
Yep, Carlos Basham, who, I mean, started the season, I mean, he had the potential to be a top 10 pick, in my opinion. I mean, he's disappointed this year to an extent. I mean, he's still just an athletic freak. I mean, I talk about this a lot. Most of these guys will be very high on my board. Bruce Feldman, he's on Bruce Feldman's freak list. He's 6'5", 275, who's just, I mean, God, he's powerful, dude. He's so strong. He's the complete opposite of the pass rushers I've listed ahead of him so far. God, think like Trey Flowers kind of pass rush when he was good. Things like, I mean, he's going to beat a lot of people like in the power game and I mean, he's got hands to like excel to. The issue becomes he's really inconsistent. And when you're playing at Wake Forest and you're not beating the level of competition like you should, that's kind of worrisome. But I mean, 11 sacks is hard to ignore, 36 hurries, 37 hurries last year or the year before that. I mean, he's good.
I guess I'm surprised you called him an athletic freak because, again, when I was doing my research, they said that the book I read on him is that he has an entire catalog of moves. He identifies the run game instantly and knows where to attack the run game, but that he lacks elite athleticism.
No, elite edge athleticism maybe. Like, I mean, the guy's he's 6'5", 275, and he's probably going to run in the 4.5s, 4.6s. He's going to 3-cone really well. I mean, it's just he's not bending the corner like a guy who's 250. But I mean, to call him not an athlete, I think is a little.
It sounds like his strength is definitely defending the run, though, right? More so than tackling.
I mean, no. I mean, again, he had 11 sacks last year, 37 pressures. I mean, he'll get after the quarterback. It's just, I mean, obviously he can play the run, but I mean, he'll get after the quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is Sully's top prospects. Obviously, we are going to head into a section that I like to call the news, but I don't have a graphic for it, so we're just going to skip over the music and get to the first bit of news, which Sully has a pretty big baseball news.
Yeah, I mean, the MLB has decided to recognize Negro League stats and put them in with MLB stats. And therefore now Josh Gibson becomes the leader in OPS. A lot of guys get bumped out of the top 10 in average of all time because Josh Gibson goes in there. I believe Oscar Charleston goes in there. So I don't know. There's a lot of mixed feelings about this, honestly. I love the idea that they're recognizing their stats. I don't know if I love the idea of combining them, though.
I like the idea of combining them. I guess my first thought was when they said that all the records are going to be records and whatnot. I was like, Josh Gibson's now the all-time home run leader because you'd heard the myths of him hitting 900 career home runs or something like that. Well, upon research, because I guess this guy, and I have the note here, Scott Simkis is the founder of Outside Baseball Outreach. He said they've collected every box score from every Negro League game, and they're just compiling the stats right now. They said Josh Gibson really had more like 225 home runs or 230 home runs. They said he probably hit 900 home runs in his career, but a lot of them were exhibition games or internationally played games, kind of like Acuna hit a home run down in Venezuela recently. That wouldn't count. That's that kind of home runs he hit. But overall, the stats compared to Babe Ruth are like neck and neck. He hit 365 to Ruth's 342, 690, slugging, 449 on base percentage. I actually had the OPS as 1139 for him as opposed to 1164 for Ruth.
From everything I heard, he's going to take over the OPS. I could be wrong because, again, these are if they're now compiling new stats, I honestly don't know. Baseball Reference has Josh Gibson as a higher OPS. Now that, again, that may change with, new facts and things like that. But my struggle with it is they weren't playing the same competition. So how can you combine the stats? That's my only frustration with it. I get it, and I understand we want to give them their due rights, and truthfully, this doesn't make up for all the wrongs that baseball has done to black players and really not acknowledged, to be fair. But it's a start, and I just don't know if it's the right one, to be honest.
Well, because obviously this became somewhat of a debate topic on Sports Soup, which is a group we're both part of, where I think the question was asked, what about female stats when they played while the guys went to war? They had the female baseball league. Should they be included in Major League stats? And I said, yeah, why not? I don't care. So if you give, what's her name, Dorothy, whatever her name is, the real life, Dottie, whatever, she had 100 baseball hits. She's got 100 Major League hits. I have no problem saying that.
I do.
Okay. So what is the problem with it?
I mean, they didn't play each other. So you're okay with WNBA stats being the same as NBA stats?
No. Because
what the fuck? How is there any difference?
They have two separate leagues. There wasn't.
So was this Negro League and the MLB were two separate leagues,
but for different reasons.
It doesn't matter.
It matters to me.
There's still two separate leagues. It's semantics as to why. Your argument can't be they're two separate leagues. That can't be your argument.
But they're two separate leagues that are going on at the same time. Plus, if you look at
the Negro League and the MLB.
But the difference is that
what? So gender and race are two different segregation points for you?
Yes, way too different. Because, all right, men versus women in basketball versus a white guy versus a black guy in basketball. Same thing?
Well, no, obviously not. But they're still two different leagues.
Because one isn't able to compete in this league. In the Negro League's case, they were able to compete. They just weren't allowed to.
Tell that to Caitlin Fuller, or whatever her fucking name is.
Yeah, I'll compare her to Steven Gostkowski when she starts kicking 63-yard field goals.
I mean, I'm just saying, maybe if we let women play a long time ago, they would be able to play with us now. We would never know.
Okay.
Because it's sexist.
I guess. I just think that they can't compete with
sexism is okay to you, but racism is not. Heard.
Yes,
you heard it here first, folks.
Yes. What wonderful
Wayne doesn't
twist.
like women.
Wonderful twist.
Mm-hmm.
Not in comedy, anyways. But
not in comedy. Nobody likes women comedians.
We are a sexist show, see? So my bit is I'm jumping into the NBA, and obviously we have video / images coming out of fat James Harden, who past Tuesday he shows up to play against the Spurs after a lengthy holdout, and he just really looks like he did nothing but eat during this quarantine. He got really big. But then the game starts, and I'm going to tell you, he looked like James Harden. He's got the step-back three. He had the good court vision. He had the explosiveness. It wasn't like he was being locked down by guys. So it isn't like he's suffered, but my problem with it is they're trying to trade him. He wants to be traded, and they've got reports now where Houston's coming out saying, well, we want Ben Simmons and 3 for James Harden. Well, not if he's 397 pounds.
Yeah, James Harden's not doing much for his trade case here. I mean, you would think he'd just show up and ball out, and then that way, he could kind of demand to go anywhere he wanted to. But at this point, I mean, now there's reports that, they're reaching out to other teams outside of his demands and things like that. I mean, he may end up in Memphis or you know what I mean? Like he better watch himself. Eat that barbecue all day.
Well, I would actually send him to Cleveland just out of spite, and I wouldn't even care what they sent me back. Just like, hey, you're going to Cleveland.
I mean, I hear you there.
Well, let me ask you this. So, what do you think about – because I've had this debate with people where Giannis just signed a huge contract, Supermax contract, and I've seen guys saying, all you guys, making fun of him because he's going to be stuck in Milwaukee. He can demand a trade now. And I'm like, well, not really, because and Harden really can't either, because they're not in the last year of their deal.
Yeah.
I mean, he has no leverage. Houston can say, tough crap, Harden, you're sticking here, and he either plays or he doesn't get paid $37 million. So he's got 37 million reasons to play. He can't really hold out.
Yeah, I mean, he has really like you said, he has no leverage. There's nothing he can do. I mean, he's got to play. He's got he's got to show up. He's got to pay his dues, essentially. He's got no leg to stand on here. I mean, first and foremost, demanding the Russell Westbrook trade, essentially, and then now demanding a trade out. I think it just looks poor. So
it does, and I think that it seems like the front runner, based on the packages that we've been seeing, is the New Jersey Nets with Kyrie Irving, because they're going to try to send Allen, LeVert, right?
Dinwiddie, I would assume.
Dinwiddie, yeah. So a couple guys who are pretty solid and will fit in with John Wall and Boogie Cousins, who both looked pretty good in their preseason debut. They're healthy again, which is good. That seems like the most logical fit, I guess, but I would have to think somebody's got to be able to put up a better offer than that, right?
I mean, what though? I really don't understand what else anybody could give for the most part. I mean, I was looking around, like you said, for a wing player, and there's not a lot of great wing players. The only thing, and this would be wild, is Boston. And Boston getting rid of Jaylen Brown maybe for James Harden, Jaylen Brown and a couple firsts or something like that for James Harden. I mean, I bet they wish they would have kept Gordon Hayward, because Jaylen Brown and Gordon Hayward gets it done for sure, and they would be happy to do that, I think. And honestly,
Gordon Hayward is in Charlotte.
No, that's why I said I wish they wouldn't have let him go to Charlotte at this point. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know how James Harden would fit with Kemba and then Tatum. I think actually that would work, though, to be honest with you. So
Kemba's where I don't think it fits. I don't like the idea of James Harden. To me, is a point guard. He's a one. He gets 8, 9, 10 assists a game. He's a triple-double machine. You want him handling the ball. Kemba Walker is a ball-dominant player. So you're either moving Kemba Walker to the 2 or you're moving Harden to the 2, because you can't have 2 ones back there at the same time. I just don't think it works, other than sometimes you have reserves come in, but that's not the same. I'm saying 2 star players who are both point guards, it doesn't work. So for me, I think that makes the most sense for Houston. Doesn't make any sense for the other team, is to Sacramento for Buddy Hield, who wants out, and for Marvin Bagley. So Marvin Bagley and Buddy Hield would be a really good get for James Harden. But James Harden to Sacramento doesn't make them any better.
I mean, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I think James Harden to any team makes them better. Yeah. So, I don't know.
But then, of course, we have De'Aaron Fox and Harden, who, again, are both point guards. Although I think De'Aaron Fox could play the 2.
I think so as well. I definitely think so as well. But, man, I don't know. It's just so hard to find a spot for a guy, because you're asking for so much back. So it's it's just, I don't know. It's a lot.
And then you had some NFL news, looks
like. Alex Smith, man, the guy can't catch a break. He's out. We got Dwayne Haskins starting for the Washington football team. Washington kind of gave up on him as their quarterback of the future. If he comes out and balls out, I don't know. Do they give him a relook, or I don't know. I feel like Ron Rivera has kind of sold the ship on Haskins, and really is just going to cut ties with him. But obviously, if he does well and leads them, to a playoff run here, you kind of have to keep him as a starter, right?
Well, I would think so. And to me, Haskins, I like him, and I know that his last year of college, he had 50 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And when you look at his body of work in college, he's a true pocket passer. He ran the ball 6 times a game in college, which is nothing. And he's 6'4", 240. He runs a 5-second 40. He's not super mobile. He's a stand back there and throw the ball kind of guy. I'm wondering if when he came into the league, and maybe this is kind of the back of my mind, I always think that there's still racism in the league. They thought, we're getting a black quarterback, we need to scheme a Lamar Jackson type offense around him. And that's not who he is.
It's not at all. I mean, he is a pocket passer through and through. I mean, to be fair. But I mean, I don't know, because I think Ron Rivera tried to do more what he did with Cam Newton, to be fair, not, Lamar Jackson. But I don't know. It's such a tough spot too, because when you get in there and you're not tied to a guy as part of the franchise, like, I mean, you're not really going to put a lot of investment into him at that point. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to try to make your playbook suit him and things like that. You're going to make him fit you, because if he fails, oh, well, it's not my fault kind of thing. Like, I didn't pick him. So, yeah.
All right, well, let me ask this, because here's a question that obviously anytime these young quarterbacks fall out of favor with a franchise, the New England Patriots comes up because they need a young quarterback, or they need a quarterback to lead them into next season and beyond. And I know obviously Sam Darnold's been thrown out there because the Jets are going to take Trevor Lawrence with the first overall pick. If they don't, then they're completely nuts, which I've seen people propose that. And, I've always said that I actually, if I was the Jets, wouldn't take him, but I also wouldn't keep the first pick. I would trade down and build through more picks. You don't stay at one and not take him. That just doesn't make any sense. Yeah. But anyways, I'm saying, so like Darnold's been out there. Now I'm sure Haskins will be available. And based on how he's performed in 2 half a seasons, I think that you could get him really cheap, maybe a 4th round pick, 5th round pick. He's still under contract for 2 years, and if I'm New England, he's a pocket passer. Do you take a chance on a guy like that? Or are there other guys like Gardner Minshew is going to be available? Would you prefer him? What are you thinking?
I think I would prefer probably both of them over like anybody after like if you're not taking a quarterback in the first 2 rounds, like I think I'd try to roll with a guy who's already been in the league. You know what I mean? Because I think he can, he's already adjusted to essentially the speed of the league and things like that. My only issue is I don't think you're getting Dwayne Haskins for a 4th. The guy still was the number 3 overall pick 2 years ago. Like everybody talks about Sam Darnold's value, like he'll still get a 2nd on the market. Like I truly do think he would.
Well, he's also completing more than 58% of his passes.
No, I understand, but again, somebody's gonna love Dwayne Haskins' arm. They just are. Like it is a special arm. He's got a lot of arm talent. I think he screams Jameis Winston to me. So, I don't know.
But Winston can get out of the pocket and create with his feet, and Haskins can't really do that as much. So I don't know. To me, it's like you've got a pocket passer who's not accurate. It's okay to have a mobile quarterback who's not accurate, but not a pocket passer who's not accurate.
Jameis Winston is not a mobile quarterback.
Okay.
He's not. He has never been. I'm pretty sure he ran like a 5.0 in the 40, like legit. I'm pretty sure he ran a 5.0 in the 40.
Okay, so they're probably very comparable then. Huh? As a Patriots fan, my hope is for Dak Prescott that the Cowboys don't re-sign him, or they do and they're looking to trade him with the franchise again. Is that he could go to New England? I think he'd be a great fit with what they do.
New England?
Yeah,
I think it'd be a really good fit. New England, actually. I think. If I'm being fair, I think a lot of these guys would. I think Gardner Minshew, Sam Darnold, or Dwayne Haskins would be a really good fit there because, again, they're a quarterback that you essentially know can already play quarterback. So it's like, why would you take a risk on a guy like a Kyle Trask, who I love, or like a Trey Lance or something like that, when you can just grab a guy like this and then essentially he's ready to play. You just have to make sure you tailor an offense to make sure he's ready to play.
And from the pros to the NCAA, as Danny DeVito said in Twins, tonight is your night, bro. They have 2 big games today, right? We've got Notre Dame, Clemson, and Alabama, Florida. Starting things off with Notre Dame, Clemson. Obviously, Notre Dame beat Clemson the first time. That's their only loss. They're playing each other now, and looking over the game, it was 47-40. It was a double overtime. They didn't have Trevor Lawrence. They had the backup, who also threw for 439 yards and no interceptions. But I don't know. I think Clemson's going to win this, and I think that knocks Notre Dame out of the college football playoff picture.
100% it does. I mean, it should. Their biggest win is over a team where they didn't have the best player in the country. And then I truly expect Clemson to come out and win handedly today. So I think it's going to be a pretty, decided victory, and Notre Dame's going to move pretty far down. The only issue becomes then is who moves up. And I think that'll be Florida, honestly.
Well, here's my question. So the Notre Dame-Clemson, the first game, Notre Dame did a fantastic job controlling the ground. So Travis Etienne had 18 carries for 28 yards in that game. Like, he didn't do anything. They stuffed him completely. Now, so you take away the running game. They didn't stop the passing game at all because, like I said, how do you say it? Is it Ujalele?
The quarterback, yes. Yeah. DJ Ujalele.
Usually. So he had 439 yards passing. But I guess they said, well, that's what we're going to do. And my question is, if they do that again, if they come out and they say, we're going to hold Travis Etienne to 30 yards rushing, can they beat Trevor Lawrence?
No.
Okay.
So if you look back and look DJ Ojolede misses, yes, he had a great game and things like that, but he misses throws in big time spots that Trevor Lawrence does not miss, and that Trevor Lawrence completes, and it changes the aspect of the game. Trevor Lawrence does not take sacks in overtime. He's just not going to do it. So, that changes the outcome of the game immensely. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're going to have to throw for 400 yards. I really don't. I mean, this Clemson team is going to come out fucking pissed. They want to win, and God, I'm blanking on his name. The coach.
Oh, Dabo.
Dabo. Dabo's going to have his team ready. You know what I mean? Dabo's an intense guy. He's going to have his team ready to play ball, and I think they're going to win. I really do. And then a segue into the next game, the Florida-Bama game. I think Florida's got a shot to win this football game, and if they win this football game and Notre Dame loses, I think Florida's got a shot to sneak in. I really do. I don't see any way if they beat Alabama, you leave the SEC champion out of the net. Now, I know they just lost another game to LSU, but obviously the committee looks at that game with not a lot of disappointment. They didn't move; they moved them down a spot. So I don't know, man. I think now it all obviously depends on Florida beating Alabama, which is a huge if, but I think they got a shot. And if they do, I'd watch out for Gators to sneak in there.
Well, here's my thing on the Alabama-Florida game is that both teams have played LSU, right? Florida lost 37-34. They had 3 really bad turnovers in that game. Alabama won 55-17. But they didn't turn the ball over like that. So if you took Alabama, you gave them 3 turnovers that turn into scores, Alabama loses 38-34. So it's a very similar game. And when I looked at the yards they gave up, Alabama gave up just as many yards to LSU as Florida did. So really it was just the turnovers.
It really was. And I mean, Kyle Trask played a pretty poor game. The offensive line really played a really, really, really bad game. But I mean, I don't know. I think they really do have a shot. That offense is special, and I think the defense can do enough to contain. That's the issue. They got to do enough to contain Devontae Smith. But I think they have a chance to. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough one.
My concern is that Florida gave up 416 yards to LSU, or 418 yards of total offense to LSU. LSU averages 416 yards. So basically they let them have their average. Alabama averages over 500 yards of offense. If you give up their average to them, you're going to lose handily.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to so the key to stopping Alabama is you can't let them get over the top of you. You got to kind of let them force to nickel and dime you down the field, I think. And I think that's the way to beat them because they've turned into an offense that that they want to I don't know. They want to take the top off of you. So, yeah.
Well, Tyler Jewell says Jameis ran a 4.97. So,
see, so it was like a 5.0. I'm telling you, I know he's my quarterback. I know he wasn't athletic. Dwayne Haskins and him have the same type of thing. They can get out and run, but that's not what they want to do, or that's not what they do best. Tyler, I love you, dog.
And then you had brought this up to me as well, with Virginia Tech opting out.
Yeah, I'm tired of this shit. Go play some fucking football. What the fuck, man? Opting out. Speaking of the Notre Dame game, they said if they win this game and get invited to the college football playoff, they may protest it and not play because families can't come. Please don't play. Nobody wants you to play Notre Dame. Just don't play.
I'll say this. If Notre Dame beats Clemson, gets into the college football playoff, is probably, I think, the 2 seed at that point. If Alabama
100% they're the 2 seed.
Then there is no way the athletic director says you can sit. It's okay.
Exactly.
Brian Kelly, you don't have to show up, but we'll send somebody out there.
Yeah, that's way too much money that team would be losing if they don't show up. But yeah, I mean, even still, like Virginia Tech opting out, they've got the longest active bowl streak at 27 years, and then they just we don't want to play. Like, I don't know, that shit just I hate that. I fucking hate it. Like, it's I don't know.
And here's I threw this one out to Jesse last episode. We were talking about Gus Malzahn getting fired, which I was surprised because he's done okay. I guess his big issue is he hasn't been able to beat Nick Saban, except for the one, I think, national championship he won. So my question was, coaches that could take over Auburn and be successful, the big name right now is Mario Cristobal from Oregon. But I said, how about a guy who's won in the SEC and Urban Meyer taking over Auburn?
Ooh.
He's a great recruiter, so you're going to get 5-star recruits.
Why would he want to go to Auburn?
Just to beat Alabama.
Nah, I mean, he's such a front-running kind of guy. I mean, I don't think he'd go to Auburn.
He said his dream job is Notre Dame. So I think if Brian Kelly decides not to show up, then, hey, there's going to be an opening.
I mean, when Notre Dame gets blasted by Clemson here today, I mean, he may just have his job, Urban Meyer.
All right, and then I have our final thoughts section because I know we're going to get into our game. You said you wanted to do a little bit more research.
I've got it. I'm ready to go. So
okay. Well, then my final thought before we get into it. I'll come back to the final thoughts.
I was going to say, you're going to do final thoughts before the final of the show? Then it's just random thoughts. It's not final thoughts. So you can change the segment to random thoughts if you want.
Okay, but let's just go with favorites. Do you want to ask the first question that I'll get right, or do you want me to ask you the first question?
I guess I'll ask it, and I'm going to start with an easy one, I think.
Okay.
What is the name of Billy Crystal's character?
Miracle Max.
Yep. All right.
So,
you got a buzzer now?
And I have control over it too. So,
man, this is fantastic.
Giving myself the right ringer there.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to start off with one that I think is easy because, again, this was the very first question I thought of for Happy.
I probably should have watched this movie before I decided to do this.
Who is he paired with at the Waterbury Open?
Oh, Bob Barker.
No, that's the Pro-Am.
Oh, okay.
At the Waterbury Open, when he qualifies for the tour, who is his partner?
I don't know.
So the answer is Daniel Lafferty, right? Next on the tee, Lafferty Daniel and Gilmore Happy. Mm. So, and actually Daniel Lafferty, if you watch the scoreboard, he's like in the top 5 for that whole tournament.
Is he now?
Yeah, so he has a pretty good round. So, all right, 1-0. What do you got for me now? Princess Bride, bring some faster heat.
All right. What are the names of the 3 guys hired to kill Buttercup?
Vizzini, Inigo Montoya, and Fezzik.
Yep.
That's going to be so much fun for me for the rest of this game.
Is it? You have a good time with that?
I am. All right. So this one's going to be a little bit tougher because this is one that I actually had to rewatch to get the answer, but it is spoken in the film.
Well, I'm just going to start making you name movie quotes then. Like, Jesus.
This isn't a quote. This is like a fact. So Kevin Nealon's character introduces himself to Happy Gilmore at the very first tournament. What's his name?
Fucking.
It's really random. I only remember it because it sounds like something else.
I don't know.
It is Gary Potter.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, this kind of sounds like Harry Potter. But all right. So up 2-0 here again. The Princess Bride, one of my all-time favorite movies. I know so many quotes in the movie if you want to do a quote game. But
all right. How about this? Who wrote the book that the grandfather's reading to the grandson?
That is a good one. That is a really good one.
How about that, dickhead?
Because he does say it.
Yeah.
He says The Princess Bride by I don't even know. I'm going to say Josh Brown.
No. S. Morgenstern
Oh, nice.
is the pen name of William Goldman.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's a chance to try to get something here. In what year did Sports Illustrated say that Chubbs would be the next Arnold Palmer?
Oh, damn! I know this one. I don't know this one.
You take a shot?
74.
1965.
Ooh, I was gonna say 64, which is but I was like, damn, that's way too early in racism.
All right. So.
All right. All right. How about this? The acronym, the ROUS. What does it stand for?
Rodents of unusual size.
All right, yeah, that was an easy one.
And this one, so Bob Barker mentions to Happy that he had won the Pro-Am with what golfer as his teammate?
Oh, I know. Fuck me. I'm going to get all 5 of these wrong. Oh my God. I won this with last year, so you better. I won this with. Fuck, I know this. Mickelson.
Nick Faldo.
Nick, that's it. Fuck me. God, I knew that one. All
right. So what do we got here for the Princess Bride?
All right, I'll go with this one. I think it's an easy one, but
they're all easy to me.
Yeah, I hate you. What is the name of the 6-fingered man?
Count Rugen.
Yeah.
My favorite is hitting the bell before you tell me I'm right. Just
I should have found a better quiz, huh?
Yeah. All right, so I've got my fifth one here for you. What size jacket does Shooter wear?
34 long.
It is a 44 long, and his right arm is a little bit longer than the left.
A little bit longer than his left. It's a 44 long. I hate this game. I smoke too much weed to remember this kind of stuff.
That's a fun game. I had actually a 6th question for you. I don't have it written down here, but I don't.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Do I have another one, or am I done?
Oh, you can bring up any. I'll get them all right. I mean, the book one was a good. The author. That was a really
the book one. That was a good one. I did like that one. Yeah, I guess I'm out, huh?
My favorite Princess Bride trivia question. If somebody says that they know the Princess Bride, I'm like, like Eddie Murphy in Coming to America.
Yeah.
Is what is the name of Inigo Montoya's father? Because they only say it once.
Ooh, do they? That would have been a good one. But you'd obviously known it, right?
He says, I swear on the soul of my father, Domingo Montoya, you will reach the top alive.
Oh. How many perfect kisses are there since the invention of the kiss?
5?
Yeah. Well, this game sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, you should have found one the stuff I wouldn't know is things like, what actor played blah, blah.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that. I saw a lot of that. And then who said this in the movie? I didn't want to do that. Yeah, I didn't want to do those. And then it was specific, what's the most said phrase in the movie?
Oof. As you wish.
Yeah. But obviously Inconceivable, and then My Name is Inigo Montoya, Prepare to Die was one, and things like that. But yeah, I didn't want to go too wild. I thought Jesse went a little rough with some of his questions.
Well, you had I mean, yeah.
I know, I get it. But I didn't want to, and also I didn't prepare. So.
And I didn't want to with Jesse's, he had how many stickers are on the body.
Yeah.
And I should have known that one. I said 62 in my mind because when I watched the movie, I remember it translates out to they have to win 95 games.
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember. They already won 30 because I think he says in the meeting with Charlie, he says 30 and 31 is hardly a bad job.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But, that's a great one too. Where did Lou Brown work before he got the job as the manager? And it was Tire World, right? It was, before that, it was the Toledo Mudheads.
I knew most of the Remember the Titans ones.
I tried to keep them easier for him. Like I said, I didn't want
to. I knew Bertier's number. I didn't know Rev's name. I knew Sunshine's name. But
he did too, and he said he wanted me to bring up Sunshine's name.
Of course, yeah. Ronnie Bass.
But I knew Rev because when Lastic is being interviewed up at the front, and he's like, "I eat with Jerry Harris." That's Rev. People call him Rev because he's always preaching.
People call him Rev.
All right. So my final thoughts, as I was saying before, is, and I have some video for this one, is the transfer of UCF quarterback McKenzie to Florida State. Mackenzie Milton. This one didn't make a lot of sense to me. I know Florida State's kind of like they'll take whatever they can get, and I know that he's got something like 70 touchdowns, 77 touchdowns in his career at UCF. But he's a completion percentage for his career of like 61%. I think it was 58% before he got hurt.
I mean, that wasn't his game. I mean, he was a running quarterback now. I mean, obviously his leg has been shattered. So, he runs the ball. I mean, obviously his leg's been shattered, so who knows? He left UCF because the player who's currently playing is like his best friend and his old high school quarterback or some shit. And like, they don't want to go up against each other in a competition. And so he just transferred out. And I mean, I get it. FSU's in a tough spot, man. They're a bad program right now and they need anything. And, if McKenzie Milton doesn't pan out, you know what I mean? It's not a big deal. If he turns out to be, 80% of the player he used to be, they've got a shot to, finish second or third in the ACC.
All right. I always thought of Florida State's quarterbacks as being more pocket passers than, scramblers. With a pocket passer, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even still, like you've got to adapt and figure new things out at this point. Like what was working isn't working. So,
all right. I did think of it because we have a little bit of extra time. I wanted to throw a couple more Happy Gilmore questions at you.
Let's see. I'll miss some more. Let's do it.
These ones should be some easier ones. These are ones I didn't include because I thought they'd be too easy. Like what is Ben?
I probably should have watched the movie. It's been a while.
Like Ben Stiller's character name, the orderly. What is his name?
I don't know.
It's Ron. It says on this.
I know it says it on his name tag. He is My World Now. Yeah, I definitely should have watched the movie. Is the issue?
There's a lot of those. How about this one? Should be really. What's the girl's name that Happy Gilmore falls in love with? Because not getting that is really unprepared. That's like crazy easy.
I can literally see him saying her name, and I can't think of it.
I'm trying to think. I don't remember him saying her name until he calls her, "Hey, public relations lady." I remember at one point, but they do say
hey, public relations lady.
But they do say her name when she gets out of the limousine when he's like, "Hey, who's the girl?"
Yeah, I don't know.
Virginia Bennett.
Oh, it is Virginia Bennett. I didn't even realize that was the same actress from Modern Family for the longest time. And then I was like, oh my God, that's fucking the mom from Modern Family. I used to have the biggest crush on Virginia Bennett.
She was most recently in Hubie Halloween, which is Adam Sandler movie.
New movie, yeah.
It's awful. It's absolutely awful.
It's terrible. So bad.
It's the worst.
It's one of the worst movies he's ever made. Like Jack and Jill.
Little Nicky's pretty bad, too.
Little Nicky was amazing. Watch your mouth.
Awful.
Watch your mouth. Little Nicky was fantastic.
After Big Daddy, he just spirals down.
Eight Crazy Nights was fantastic. You're just a Grinch who doesn't like Jewish people. So, so you're a sexist anti-Semitic right now.
Awesome.
That's where the show has been.
No, I think I watched the movie. I'm going to crap on another movie right now, too. Hobbs and Shaw.
That movie's awful. Hey, honestly, we got time. Let's talk the games today. I forgot. The Bills play today. Who else plays today?
There NFL games today?
Yeah, there's two.
All right.
I completely forgot. That's right. It's Saturday football. Let's run those down real quick. I mean, why not? I know you won't have graphics or anything, but we got time and fuck it. Gold jacket, green jacket. Who gives a shit?
That's like the only one you would have gotten right. But
and I don't even say it right. It's green jacket, gold jacket. Who gives a shit? All right. Yeah, we got Bills, Broncos, and Panthers, Packers today. So Bills, Broncos, the line's at -5.5 Buffalo. It's at Denver, though. Let's see. What do we got the over-under at? Over-under's at 49. Damn, is it snowing?
I don't know. I'm going to say give up the points and take the under. I think Buffalo is just – I mean, not Buffalo. Denver's really, 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 really bad.
I'd give up the points, but I like the over.
Really? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to score that many points.
I think Buffalo can score 30 in their sleep. I guess Denver would have to score 19 at that point. Yeah, I'll take the under. I'll take the under. Because I could see like a 30-13 score. And
then Green Bay and the Panthers. The Panthers, to me, are the most disappointing team of the season, I think, because I really thought they were going to be really good with Teddy Bridgewater. I know Christian McCaffrey got hurt for like 5 or 6 games. So
it's kind of big.
But, yeah, I mean, that Aaron Rodgers, I think, is your MVP right now. I think that he's going to win this game as well.
Did I call that or what?
Yeah, that's pretty well. I mean, I think Mahomes is still in it, but I think.
Well, yeah, he definitely is. But I think right now, I mean, nobody was thinking Rodgers for MVP, and I mean, I love that guy. You light a fire under his ass, he'll beat you. I mean, 8 points is a lot, though.
Is that what the spread is? 8 points?
Yeah, I got it at 8, and then the over under at 52.5.
I'd take the over. And then, even though the Panthers have had trouble putting the ball in the end zone, they get a lot of yards, but they have trouble putting the ball in the end zone. I'm still going to take the over on that, and I would say give up the points. I think Aaron Rodgers wins by a couple touchdowns.
I think so, too. Aaron Rodgers likes these kind of games, like, 8:15 primetime on a Saturday. Like, he's going to fucking own that market. So, I mean, like, this is how you win MVPs. You ball out on days like today. So, I mean, I fully expect him to crush tonight. I'd take the points in the over as well.
Let me ask you, because this will be one of my final thoughts. So I live up here in New Hampshire, for those of you who don't know. And I'm a New England Patriots fan, obviously. And around here, sports radio, talk radio, TV shows, they talk about the Patriots 24/7, even in the offseason. It's all they talk about is the Patriots. And so you know everything about every practice squad player, everything. But I'm curious, down in Tampa, I haven't heard Josh Rosen's name. And I don't know if you hear – well, because like I hear about practice squad players if they're doing well around here. I'm curious if you've heard anything. Like, is he playing well in the practice squad? Does it look like when he's going to be an heir apparent? I mean, he's not even on the regular roster, so probably not. But I've always really liked Josh Rosen.
The idea of him being the heir apparent is not dead. Let's put it that way. Like nobody's mocking a quarterback to Tampa right now. I mean, there are a couple, but like that, I think it's a little off because everything inside is, do they take a quarterback or do they trust Josh Rosen? So it's not really like we haven't like sold Josh Rosen up the river and said you're not going to be our guy. The issue is he's not a part of the actual 53-man roster, and he's not sitting there learning from Tom Brady every day and things like that. So I don't really know. Obviously we'll see a lot in the offseason. I mean, I know that's a kind of a blanket statement. Obviously we'll see a lot and telling what happens. But, I mean, if he gets, upgraded and we cut the current backup quarterback or something like that, if we don't take a quarterback in the draft, I think that's very telling.
I think in terms of play style, too, I think that Josh Rosen fits that air raid offense a lot better.
Much better. Much, much, much better. The only thing with him is like, can you get over the mental things, though? Like, obviously the talent's there, but, he's never been there mentally, and that's always been the issue. So I just don't know if that's able to, like, just break all of a sudden.
What is it mentally? Because I thought he was an arrogant, cocky kid.
He was. He always has been. I mean, the issue is he was crowned the number one pick at UCLA after his, I think, freshman season. Like he was essentially Trevor Lawrence. He was the can't miss number one guy. Well, then he played like shit the rest of his college career, but people were still very high on him, obviously, but he had that arrogant talk of, well, I'm just the best. I'm going to go. And I mean, you want your quarterback to be confident. Don't get me wrong. I love Baker Mayfield and his bravado and things like that. But you also want him to be reserved and know when to bring it in and not be cocky. There's a huge difference between confident and cocky. Any woman on the planet will tell you that. She can immediately see a guy and realize if he's just showing out or if he's just really a confident person. And Josh Rosen, I think, is just showing out.
I was going to say that Tom Brady might be the complete opposite of that because Tom Brady, I think, oozes confidence.
Exactly.
But he doesn't
say a word. Exactly. And he's done it since the day he walked onto the field. Let's be fair. Obviously, 20 years into a career where you're the greatest quarterback of all time, you can walk around like you got fucking Mjolnir in your pants. You know what I'm saying? For those who don't know, that's Thor's hammer. So, like, I get it. Like, Tom Brady's one thing, but, like, even still, like, I think the great quarterbacks, even the better, like, Patrick Mahomes walked into the league walking around like he was the best guy in the league, even though like he didn't like say that out loud. But I mean, he still has never said that out loud. Patrick Mahomes is probably one of the most humble dudes on the planet. And I mean, but he oozes confidence. I mean, like, fuck. I mean, you look at the guy and you're just like, Jesus, I'd follow him anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that's a special trait that not a lot of guys have.
Well, you know what is even rarer than that, I think, is how about a guy who does not come across cocky, like ultimate humble, and does not ooze confidence in any way, but just dominates. And that, to me, I think Barry Sanders.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty apt example. I mean, I bet you couldn't name another player on the planet who does that, though.
I can name a lot of cocky players, but
that's what I mean. Like another player who's like, doesn't even like, because a lot of guys that are good, like it's like, I don't know, maybe Larry Fitzgerald. He does ooze confidence to me, though. But he's just so happy-go-lucky that, like, you know, you don't think he's like worried about a thing in the world. He's easily the most likable guy in the NFL.
Yeah, well, I'd say Julian Edelman, but he oozes. He's actually cocky a little bit.
He's cocky. I mean, he's definitely cocky, especially because like his outside the field stuff.
All right. Well, that's kind of fun to kind of shoot the proverbial turd here at the end of the show.
Yeah, of course. I always love doing that.
I'm going to throw it to Kenny because I haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't have anything clever to say. So
let's go Gators. How about that, man? Let's go.
Go Gators, I guess.
Nice. You gave me a go Gators, Wayne. I appreciate it.
I don't really care. So.
I know, but, I mean, it'd be fun to see Alabama lose, wouldn't it?
It would be. That would really throw a wrench in the playoffs. They're still going to make the playoff if they lose.
Yeah, exactly. But then that's when shit gets chaotic. Like, because then Alabama drops how far? Like, does Clemson shoot to 1 if they beat Notre Dame? And do you leave the SEC champion Florida out who just beat Alabama? Like, do you put in the Big 12 champion? Like, nobody gives a shit about the Big 12. Like, Texas A&M, are they just left out there on the cold? I mean, I really hope Florida wins just to throw the whole shit into chaos.
I would like that, and I'd also obviously we're going to see 5-0 Ohio State in there. So,
yeah, I mean, there's no way they're not in at this point. It's a joke, but good for them.
Wouldn't it be amazing if they did leave them out? Like, if the college football committee says, you know what,
like that would let's say this Notre Dame loses to Clemson by like a last-second field goal.
Sure.
Florida blows out Alabama. Then you have to keep those 4 teams in, and then what do you push Ohio State out?
That's what I said. I'd say push Ohio State out for Florida.
Yeah, I mean, especially if Florida goes out there and dominates Alabama today and beats them by 20, you know what I mean? You can't just not put Alabama in, like you said. Alabama's been the most dominant team in the country the whole season, so they would fall to like 3 or 4, and then Clemson. Oh man, that would be insane. That would be nuts.
Yeah. I'd like to see my former high school rival, Ryan Day.
That would be so amazing, and I hate Ohio State, so that would be so amazing.
Well, Kenny, is this season just getting started for Ohio State?